Okay. So we're recording. So you're live. You're live and in color. And Tanya Sims is with us today. So I'm glad we got George here. You know, we actually have had small groups the last couple of times. I think Bruce said he's going to try to join us today. Bruce is always funny, though. You know that, right? He sends me an email. He says, send me the link. And then you never know what's going to happen. You know, so we'll see how it goes. Last week, I think we didn't have anyone. Then about half an hour in, a couple people joined the meeting. But you know me, if we don't start in 10 minutes, we're businessmen, right? We got business people. We got other things to do. So I got cracking on some other stuff, and that was it. I said, I can't stop now.
Right.
You know, we just ended tax season officially for us, so I actually feel calmer, and I didn't even have a busy end, so it wasn't too terrible. So let's jump into it. How was your week been? How has your week been? We'll start with you, George. How was your week?
Well, my week's very good. It was very good in as much as it was productive and busy. Productive and busy meaning that I got things done in both ends of the business. The two businesses that I'm working in, real estate and my other adventure. We move forward. We're moving forward with that in paces, but we've gotten less. We're moving forward because we have less obstacles.
Nice.
So
mowing down the roadblocks.
Yeah, we got the roadblocks out of the way as far as the executive branch is concerned. Right.
Good.
And so we had a good meeting yesterday, and we're still putting it together. It's taking a lot longer than I thought it was going to take. So, and we had still amending on as far as our LLC was concerned.
Okay.
So we're still moving forward with that. The real estate side is very busy. Just have a tremendous amount of demand in this area. Tremendous. Say what, 300 people moving a day out of New York City?
Really?
Yeah.
You know, it's odd to me that I guess I'm not really seeing, I'm not obviously in the industry, right? But I'm expecting like I'm going to see a whole bunch of new influx. I'm not really seeing things, but I hear that like it's really, really, really going amazing right about now. So,
it's in different areas. People are wherever the inventory is. There's not a lot of inventory around Bergen County. There's not a lot of inventory in a lot of places, but people are moving further. People are moving into commuting from Pennsylvania. Daily commutes. They're moving that far, eastern Pennsylvania. You know?
That's crazy. That's really, really crazy. You know, I was trying to do some property investments in Pennsylvania, and it's been a challenge just getting people to say yes, because I guess, and we're doing full offers. We were doing full offers. I guess people are going even over above that. So it's kind of bananas.
Oh, so, yeah. So that, you see what's happening in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's people are looking to commute that far. Or yeah, that's far. It's an hour and a half, 2 hour commute in some instances.
An hour and a half. Yeah.
They're doing that.
Right. My brother in Yaden, he's about 145, maybe a little over 2, depending on how fast I hustle on the turnpike. So yeah, people are doing it. So cool. So we're going to welcome someone new to us. Her name is Tanya Sims. She is the owner. Can I say it, Tanya? Is it all right?
Yes, it's fine. Thank you.
Okay. She's the owner of a company called Be Gracious Etiquette. And Tanya is actually joined us through my launch program. I've been talking about recently these different programs that I'm having for business owners. So she's in a 90-day program where we're going to take her to market. And it's kind of exciting for me because beyond being a client, she's a good friend of mine and she's got a very interesting idea. So she's going to be joining our masterminds, hopefully every week, so that she can pick the brain of other owners as well. And that's kind of what I want our mastermind to be, where people who are joining these different programs even can learn not just from me, right? But we all have a meeting of the minds if questions pop up. And so, every week we do our little what have we done last week. Uh, in our launch program, there's plenty to do. I mean, we've got this set goal that we're trying to accomplish. And so we'll talk about that as well. But like we said, this is to be expansive, what we try to do. So we want to chat about a couple of things when it comes to business in general. So I had on my list to talk about today, and I don't know if this is the right topic. I think it is. And just get your thoughts on it. And I think it's really going to apply, Tanya, to you. You know what? I'm talking too much. Before we do that, Tanya, I'm going to ask you to do us a favor. I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself and your company, or as it pertains to your company.
Okay. Hello, George. How are you?
Hi, Tanya. How are you?
Good, thank you. So as Mark said, my name is Tanya Sims. I am a certified etiquette consultant and the owner of Be Gracious Etiquette. Be Gracious Etiquette is a company that is geared toward teaching children the social skills that are so critically needed for their success. We all know that 85% of a person's success is based on social and not technical skills. And oftentimes school systems, they really work hard in educating our youth when it comes to the ABCs of academics, but when it comes to the actual social skills, we find that a lot of our children are lacking these skills so critically needed. So that's where Be Gracious Etiquette comes in at. We want to teach the child those skills so that it's the whole person that is really, that they're able to grasp everything. And when they go out into the world, they really feel like they fit in.
Interesting. So who's your target market?
My target market are children who don't necessarily, my target market are children in the underserved communities. Those are the markets that I'm targeting.
Okay, so you're targeting the children or you're targeting the schools?
So we're working with the schools. We're targeting the schools. We're working with the kids, but right. Yes, we're targeting school systems, nonprofits, foster care agencies, children who are in foster care. I've worked in the school system. I had worked in the school system for about 10 years. So children who are in foster care are near and dear to my heart. And so I really, especially the children who are aging out of foster care, because they don't necessarily have the support that they need to really make it. They haven't been given the support. And then once they age out, they're really kind of just left on their own. So imagine you're 6 years old, you're shuffled from place to place to place. And what these children have to go through a lot of times, people, unless you have actually seen it, you really don't understand. So children are given a garbage bag full of clothes and they're made to shuffle from home to home to home for years. And then when you turn a certain age, they tell you, you're 18, 19, okay, bye, see you later, make it out on your own. Children who have been given certain lives aren't even able to do that. So now you have a child who's 18, 19, Well, it really depends. Some children can age out at 21. It really depends. But like 18, 19, 21, you're aged out. So what do you do at that point? The average apartment in New York City, an average studio is going for $1,900 a month. The average adult working can't even afford that right now. So where do they go? What do they do? How do they survive? So it's our hope to be able to work with these children and others.
So now George asked the perfect question, and he said, so who's your target market? And you mentioned a couple of different agencies, right? So then the question that comes to my mind is, how soon do you need to get in the door to help a child who's soon to age out?
Ideally, when they're like 7. No, I'm just
okay, right. Well, let's just say you're working with an agency, and you know, and I'm asking this question because as you're talking to people, one of the things that is a great motivator is, and George probably can say the same thing, right? Time and deadlines, right? when I talk to people and I'm going to throw taxes, you start telling people about taxes in January and they're like, okay, yeah, thanks. But if they're talking to you on April 13th, there's a whole lot of questions they start asking you, right? And it works both ways. If you come to me on January 1st for taxes, you might get a deal. You come to me on January 3rd or April 13th, you're not getting a deal. I don't have time. Time is a beautiful thing. And so when you're speaking to agencies, right, or you're speaking to, and they are working with children who are soon to age out, how soon do you need to get in the door to start helping these young people out before they age out? Have you given that thought?
I have not.
Okay, well, good. So that's something to think about. As what we're working on right now, just so we're all on the same page, right? Tanya has the program. She knows what they are. We're crafting the messaging to take to the people, to take to the companies, to take to the targets. So that's just something we might want to put on our, on our hip pocket and say, hey, do we need to give this some thought? Do we incorporate a timepiece? Time is a great motivator, right? Deadlines are a great motivator for making us make decisions.
I have no question. Is this a for-profit or non-for-profit?
No, it's a for-profit, George. I really personally, I don't want to do a nonprofit right now.
Right.
Just because, nonprofits, people can take away from you. This is my baby. So I don't want to be voted off of something, so kicked out. So, I want to keep it as a for-profit right now. I'm not saying that later on, maybe I would never give up, but maybe you guys can educate me on this too. Like right now, I would never give up the for-profit. Maybe I would add on a nonprofit piece later, but I would never let go of this Be Gracious LLC, which is my baby. Maybe I would add something else on, like another entity, if, it ever got that big. But yeah, for now, I'm for-profit.
So just to clarify that, and we're off on a different tangent, but that's cool. I like tangents. I love to see how these conversations go. You can be a nonprofit and you own, and no one can take it from you. It's just you're the only member of the nonprofit. The nice thing with there's two things when I'm thinking about nonprofits. The nice thing with a nonprofit is people can give you money, and they get a deduction, so they'd be more apt to contribute to your cause. And you can still draw salary and all of those good things. The thing that I don't particularly care about with nonprofits, and it's just a me thing, it's a lot more regulation with nonprofit, right? A lot more rules around it, like making sure that you're operating as a nonprofit. I was working with a nonprofit recently who lost their status because the IRS determined that they were not operating as a nonprofit. So it's just a little bit more regulation involved with being a nonprofit. But there are some nice, they won't take you. It's still your baby. No one can take it from you. But it just means that you can actually go out and get money from people and you won't pay taxes on it because the money's coming into your nonprofit, right? And they get a deduction. So that's the beautiful part about it. But,
okay. Thank you for clarifying that, because when I read that, that's the reason why I said, no, I don't want to do it. I guess I should have talked to you first. Cha-cha.
Well, I'm going to tell you my opinion. I mean, first things first, let's get this puppy off the ground. Let's prove something. Let's get it working. Let's get it rocking and rolling. Nonprofit has its value, but we're in business to make money, right? We're in business to make money. There's an added benefit when you're helping people. So there's a feel good thing, but you do want to use this to eat, right?
I would like to.
Yeah. So let's eat. Well, if you get this thing up and running and you're doing something, then we can think about other things. I like the nonprofit for a few different reasons. However, right now, let's just get these classes rocking. Let's get some kids through the programs. That's what's important, right? And then we can think about entity selection going forward. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. George, what do you think? Am I bugging?
No, it makes sense to me. I just wanted to understand that if it was nonprofit, I see the sense that she's committed to the result of getting the kids in their best environment. And I guess you're giving her the numbers of how she could do it nonprofit or as a profitable company. I wanted a clarification in case that most of the people that own the businesses on this network are for-profit businesses. So I was just curious how would the nonprofit component fit in? Is it a different mindset? Because I'm an old Urban League guy. When I was in that era, it was definitely nonprofit, but we made profits other ways.
Yeah.
So George,
Yeah.
can I ask you a question?
That's what we're here for.
If I approach, it's very interesting. Mark told me, he said you come because you miss out. So now that you tell me that you work for the Urban League, I'm like, wow, now I'm very intrigued. I really want to pick your brain. But my question to you is, being someone who comes from the nonprofit arena, are you saying to me, if I'm understanding you correctly, that if I approached you about my program because I am a for-profit and not a nonprofit, that's a determining factor on whether you would work with me or not, because you feel like I'm not as committed, my company is not as committed to a child's success? Is that what I'm understanding you're saying?
Oh, no, not at all.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about for the sake of this forum, most of the business owners here are profitable or for-profit businesses.
Okay.
Where I was just concerned, my background had been in the Urban League. I work for, I do real estate now, and I also have a service company. So, and they're both for profit. For profit. So I was just wondering where the mindset would come in if you were thinking nonprofit and exclusively just helping, not just, but helping people.
Okay.
I mean, we all help people, but when I left the Urban League, I knew that was nonprofit, and it was a different mindset for people. First of all, I have a salary, okay? And now, as an independent business owner, there is no salary. The salary is what I create. So that's really the difference there. Where's the source of income? Is the source of income coming from the things that I do now? For the last maybe 20, 30 years, almost exclusively, the source of income has been what I can produce and put together to put on the table.
Okay.
So, in a nonprofit sense, when I was in the nonprofit world, the thought was the next paycheck. I was going to get a paycheck, so that takes the pressure off.
It does, doesn't it? It does.
However, I'm still in for profit. I'm still 1099ing it, so
Right. Which has its benefits as well. There are pluses and minuses to both, I think, working for yourself and working for someone else.
Absolutely. I'll say this. Years ago, a long time ago, I was speaking to another CPA. This is probably 15 years ago. And he was talking about like how we do taxes. I said, and I always, with my clients, I actually take the tax return and sit down with them and go over it line by line, because I think that knowledge is important. I want to educate. And he said, you should open a nonprofit. I'm like, what? And just do the educational piece nonprofit. I'm like, wow, that's interesting, And the more I thought about it, I was like, but why would I do that? And his thought was, you can actually have money coming in without paying taxes on it. But, nonprofits typically are philanthropic in nature, and there's got to be a really compelling reason to open up a nonprofit. What you're talking about, Tanya, is to me a really compelling reason to open a nonprofit. I can see it being a nonprofit, but at the same time, I think get off the ground and rock and roll first. That's my whole thing. If you want to be a nonprofit, if you want to look at this and say, a year from now, I want to get this thing up and running. Okay, let's start talking, because there's things that you got to do differently now, And so I like the concept of nonprofit, and maybe you'll convert to that. But I want to make money right now and just get rocking and rolling. That's the way I see it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think, and so George mentioned it's not a hindrance to do it this way. I think when you're approaching companies, and I could be wrong, but when they're not going to ask you what your business status is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're listening to your passion for what you do. Like when you started this conversation, your passion for what you do shines through. So whether you're a C Corp, S Corp, LLC, you know, partner, your passion is what matters. You know what I'm saying? So keep the passion. I think you have a real good chance of making this thing pop.
Thank you.
Makes sense?
Yes, total sense.
One of the things that the topic that we wanted to chat about today that we were going to vibe on, I think ties into all of this. And it's something that I've been thinking about a lot. And I've been holding on. Like last week, I don't think we had any, so I'm going to try and get it this week because I think this is a real good topic. I want to get value from it. So this is what it was. The degree of your success depends on the quality of your relationships. And I'm talking about in business. That might actually be in life. What do you guys think about that? The degree of your success depends on the quality of your relationships.
It's so funny that you say that because I literally just finished posting a review for a salesperson who I work with. And when I left the review on Google, and that's basically what I said, that I could have shopped anywhere, but I didn't. I chose to shop at your establishment because of your salesperson. I continue to go to this one salesperson year after year. It's an appliance store. So we go there for all our big appliances year after year. I refer people year after year, not because of their store, but because of the salesperson. So I totally agree with you.
Wow. Cool. And George, I really was hoping I'd get your thought on this because I really think based on our conversations, like this is something that you're the master of because of the way in which you continually reach out to your past clients. You see the value there, and tell me if I'm wrong. And so how has that contributed to your success in business? Do you mind sharing?
No, not at all. What I found over the years, we have to market. We have to market ourselves. You have to pay for marketing. You have to do marketing. And as far as real estate is concerned, it costs maybe 7 to 10 times more to market to a new client as it does to market to an existing client. And in marketing to existing clients, you're able to drill down deep and have information, get referrals, and do business. And some people, for instance, I have a client that's has kids in college, all right? And this is actually before the pandemic, but this probably still applies even more. So instead of buying or having their kids live off campus, a client bought our house in the area so his son can live in it. And at the same time, it saved them that while they have a house appreciating, and they had never thought about that. As far as the tax implications concerned, it's tremendously advantageous, I would think, Mark. For them to have a property, let's say in Pennsylvania, and paying for the property, having this son live there was much cheaper than being off campus and just paying for rent. And yet, still, when the kid graduates in a couple of years, they'll be able to either keep the property or sell the property. So those are things that, while working with individual clients, that I can drill down deeper on because of the relationship goes just beyond the parent. It goes to what they're thinking as far as their investments is concerned, what the portfolio is concerned.
Nice.
Also, and it's a different marketplace nowadays in real estate. The primary the primary people you would want to touch if you didn't know them, knows and that don't knows, would be people like for sale by owners, people's listings who's expired. But people don't want strangers walking into their houses nowadays. It's not because of the COVID. You know, I have a flash thermometer because anybody comes to my house, I'm taking their temperature.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
you know, I people have come to your house anyway, but I'm just saying you want to know this information because so the marketplace has changed a lot. And it's really it's more comfortable for me to work with existing clients, and I can get more information as far as them looking for getting newer clients. We get new clients along the periphery because they refer to us. Always getting referrals. Always getting referrals. And referrals are always better from the clients that you have than they are from when they become a commodity. In other words, a commodity being if you're the cheapest, they want it. If you're the cheapest, they want it. But if there's a relationship tied into it, it flows a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to say, you know, like when I think about relationships, especially in business, the closer the bond, I mean, the more you're, as an owner, you want to do for them. You know, I tell everybody all the time, like I love my clients because if we don't get along, then I'm not going to work with you. It's as simple as that. Years ago, I was like, I don't need any more stress in my life. All I want is peace. So if I have a client who's not peaceable and peaceful, I can't rock with you. I'll give you a real short story. I had this one client. She came to me first year, and she wanted her taxes done, her and her husband. This is very many years ago. And so, you know, we sat down. Her husband was raving about her intelligence and her PhD, and I was okay, great, you know, but she had a little bit of like a snarkiness about her. So when she came back to pick up the return, this was when I was in my other office. She came in, he didn't come. I said, "Oh, your husband's not here?" "No, it's just me." And I said, "Okay, no worries." And it was a busy tax day, so the parking lot was full. And so she said, this is what she said to me: "We need to hurry up. My car's not parked well." I said, "Really?" So I stood up and I looked out my window and I said, let me check and see if there's any spots. So I turned to her and I said, "Hey, there's a spot available to you." It's, you know, so she said, "Can we just do this?" I was like this. What? I was like, "Son, here. And that's exactly what she did. And she walked out. And she called me the next day. She's like, "Oh, I had some tax questions. I wanted to know if you did so." You blew it. We blew it. I wasn't going to deal with that lady ever again. And so the next year she contacted me, "Mr. Adams, I'd like you to work on my taxes." I said, "I'm not accepting clients today. I can't do that." You know, I want to work hard for my clients, but I want it to be like, you know, they appreciate me and I appreciate them. I don't need stress, right? And it works that way in business. So you want to find people that you vibe with, because if you vibe with them and they vibe with you, then they're willing to listen to you, to work with you on things. I had another client who told me off one day because he missed his filing deadline. It wasn't my fault. He just missed it. But he thinks I should have called him. I said, I understand. He was a brand new client at the time. We might have worked together for like 2 months. I said, maybe it's best that we go our separate ways, because he told me off. Maybe it's best if we go our separate ways. He's like, no, I like you. Don't mind my language. I like you. I mean, and he said, if we like one another, we can make concessions. We've been together ever since. We've been working together for like 3 years now. So it's like a pretty amazing thing, when you like your clients. Actually, there's a client getting on right now. Omar?
Hey guys, how
I
you
can't
doing?
believe you're here.
Better late than never, right, Mark?
I was just talking about how much I love my clients, and if I don't love my clients, we don't work together. And this guy right here is like a real example. Okay, I don't love you. I mean, you know what I mean, dude.
I love you though, Mark. I love you. I love you. Okay?
But seriously, we were just talking about, like, when you really get along with your clients. We're talking about vibing on the degree of your success depends on the quality of your relationship. When you have a good relationship with a client, you're willing to go above and beyond for them, because that synergy is very important. I think it really matters. That's why I love what I do, because I don't have clients that I can't stand.
But one of the things, though, and I want to disagree with you a little bit on that.
Tell me, brother,
It's always
disagree
better
with
to
me.
have clients that you get along great with. But sometimes you have to endure a little bit of stress to expand your client base.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
what I'm saying is that I have, for instance, this happened just today. How about that? Okay,
Ooh,
so today I
okay.
have a client that wants to be at work. They bought business. They're an investor, but they want to invest in an area now that's outside of Bergen, not that's outside of Bergen County. It's in a difficult area. Number one, because I would have to research physically, and with COVID, things have changed, right? So I have to research physically and make physical presence and appearances in areas that might be hotspots, all right? And right now, in this area where we are, Bergen County, and I do Essex too, it's very busy. I do real estate, Omar, by the way.
Okay.
So, and residential real estate is very, very busy. And the reason being, there are limited properties, and you have tons of people moving from New York, particularly New York, that are buying anywhere from Jersey to Pennsylvania as far as daily commutes are concerned. I have clients who are looking to buy properties, and unfortunately, because the inventory is low, we have to put in more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different offers on homes in order to secure the contract. So, and those are people I have more, and those are people I have good relationships with, obviously because they're clients. Now, as far as my client was concerned, who wants me to go the extra mile or whatnot, he's a good client, but he's a little less understanding. And the fact of the matter is, and I told him before, you need to find an agent in that area. And I turned him on to somebody. I gave him walked to them, held his hand, said, listen, work with this guy. He's in the area. He knows the area. So it was something that I had to set a defining light today. I had to say, look, I'm not doing that. You got to get somebody else to do that. So why didn't you tell me that before? I said, I'm telling you now. That's the deal. That's the deal. So anyway, onward and upward.
I hear you. And I'm quantified. I don't mind being stressed for my clients. In fact, Omar stresses me every week. Every week. But I don't mind the stress because it's Omar. If Omar were a jerk.
Mark, you just give me a task and I complete my task a lot faster than you expect me to complete my task.
And he's a beast.
Wait a second.
He is a beast. I mean, there's that too. I mean,
what does Omar
we
do?
have.
Well,
tell us who you are and your company and the whole bit while we're on.
I work for my family. My family owns a window and cabinet business. So my dad started in '92. He was a manufacturer all the way up to 2012. My brother Angelo is my older brother. He and I decided to shut down the manufacturing plant and just start being a wholesaler in a sense of windows. That came pretty easy for us, thank God. And then Angelo met up with someone that told him, let's try to do, why don't you guys try to sell cabinets? First month, I was laughing at him. I said, you guys, you're nuts. This is not what we do. We know windows. We don't know nothing about cabinets. Nothing. And then Angelo's like, let's give it a shot. He sold 1 kitchen in 1 month. I started laughing at him. And now we're doing like 10 kitchens a week. So where
are you located?
In Paterson, New Jersey.
Oh, fantastic.
So yeah, I feel your pain with all these people from New York flooding our area over here. You know, and the funny thing is, you know what? I tell all the realtors, I'm like, deal with it. They're paying 10% over asking, 20% over asking, just to
absolutely. So
your commission is going to be bigger because they're paying.
It's not paying for me. It's only paying for me when I don't get the contract. But we are experiencing that, like you said, the multiple offer situation is outrageous.
Yeah,
we were in a property that was going for $439,000. They wound up asking price. They wound up taking $550,000.
That's bananas.
And 2 hours 550. But you know what happens with properties like that? They don't appraise.
Oh, they're upside down.
Right, upside down in the property. But you know what? People are buying them with cash too.
They
There you
must
go.
be in
People
love
are
with certain
skipping that
properties. There's certain
process and
things that
paying cash.
shouldn't work. There's
Huh?
certain things that shouldn't work. Certain things shouldn't work. If I see a property and it's 425 on the market, I'm not giving you more than 500,000. That's crazy. I'd be
I'm
like,
gonna
you
give you
know
more than
what?
430.
I'll stay home. I'll stay home, right? I'll
Well,
stay home.
it's different demands. I mean,
But
that's why
let's
you
not
have to check
digress too
motivation.
far into the
You have to
real
check
estate world. We
motivation.
have
Everybody.
somebody with us. We have somebody with us, Omar, someone who is a new client as far as one of my 90-day programs is concerned. And she's opening up a company called Be Gracious Etiquette. And so Tanya Sims is with us, and she's just on the journey to going to market. So we just have her chiming in, and she's how we try to help one another out just to figure things out to grow our businesses. So I wanted her to join us today. So you guys
Mark,
can
actually, I've been enjoying hearing them talking about us New Yorkers and how much over we're paying for the houses. So I know how to work it now if we try to move out to Jersey. So
Hey,
You guys have deeper pockets than us, Tanya. So it's okay if you pay $100,000 more than us. It's okay.
that's the thing. You battle against yourself, right? You battle against your own people. When you put in an offer, you be like, is anybody else putting in an offer from New York? Then I'm not interested.
No, it's not that simple.
I know.
now think about it this
I
way,
wish it
though,
was.
really. Imagine how the real estate agents and brokers, as well as the individuals who are selling everything they need, the electricians, the plumbers, the manufacturers, like what your family does. Imagine how they're faring out here if everyone's leaving the city the way that they are. You're saying we can't eat, Imagine how they're doing.
Well, it's a different. One of the things that's the basis of our economy are housing starts. Housing
That's
starts.
correct.
It is the basis of the
Absolutely.
economy because it talks to manufacturing, talks to Omar's business, talks to my business, talks to the way people are supporting the industry. So, but one of the things that is with the New York to Jersey and a Pennsylvania exodus is people coming out. Lots of people are coming out of apartments and going into homes. First time.
And you know what, George? When you said, because I was thinking to myself, am I hearing him correctly with the price of the house? Like apartments here are going for $425,000.
All day.
2
Right. Oh,
bedrooms.
yeah, sure.
You don't even have a washer and dryer. So of course, people are like, oh, forget this. I'm gonna come out there, spend $425,000 for a house,
And be a
and I'll
half
have
acre.
2.5 bathrooms. I have a basement. Like it's a dream come true.
Yeah.
It's a dream come true.
Right.
It's definitely causing a shift, isn't it?
Major shift. The inventory is low, though.
So
That's
here's an
why,
interesting thing.
this-
I've heard people say that New York is going to die. I don't believe that at
No,
all.
New York never dies.
It's going to
1987.
always be people who want to be in that city. There's so there might be an exodus, but no matter what happens, New York, the major cities are always going to be okay because people always want to go into the city. People want to, especially people who are, and usually it's the people who do well financially, right? They want to be close to their businesses or their companies, so they don't mind. I think there's a little bit of an exodus now, but New York and the real estate empire over there is going to have their resurgence as well. And I don't think it's going to be that long, I don't think it's going to be that long. So Omar, you better actually start
I'm a
turning some of
little
your
more
sales to
hesitant.
developers in New York.
I'm a little more hesitant to agree with you because a lot of corporations are changing their thought and the way they do business.
Absolutely.
We have
There are a lot
employees.
that are.
We have employees right now that are on Zoom that are not going back into the office.
Absolutely.
So I'm not renting that space anymore.
I tend to disagree with that because I hear a lot of the people are saying, a lot of big CEOs and all these big guys are saying the productivity, the imagination, the people, the group effort of being together and brainstorming an idea is not the same as in Zillow or in the office space. So a lot of them actually begging their people to come back for that exact reason because they're not producing anything. Their productivity has dropped 30%. And they're like, wait a second, there has to be a reason for this. Yeah, because they don't have their manager over their back yelling at them to get something done for them. So that is, I hear from a lot of other people saying, I'm ready to start up again right now. I need my people back in the office. I want their butts in the chair.
And I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to tell you, I worked in corporate America for a lot of years before I went out on my own as a computer programmer. And computer programmers like to work in silence. We like to be in our little zone, in our little room. The first cubicle I had as a computer programmer, it was like 4x4. and at first I was like, this is horrible. But then I was like, I love it because I'm in my zone, right? And then the nature of business, the management said, you know what? Everybody's too compartmentalized. We want to open it up and have open space. That way you can communicate and blend ideas. And so then we went to this big open concept. And then a year later, said, you know what? This is a little bit too much talking. We're going to close it up. The nature of corporate America, they go from one to the other, right? I was in the 90s and early 2000s. That's when we didn't have to wear, you could go to work in your underwear just about. They didn't care. We want you to be free, and then I was in a .com era. I worked in a
that's the power of Zoom. You can work in your underwear. I have underwear.
Yeah, well, but here, right? So they were like, you know what? You can come in how you want. On Fridays, every Friday, we're going to have a party. They were trying to do team building. And they would bring in cases of beer and chips. And we would do chair races in the hallways because they thought that was the thing. Then we had, after Y2K, the bust. Huh? I was working for a small company, right? I was working for a law firm. I left that and went to the small programming company. They were called Micro Modeling. They changed their name to Plural. We got bought by Dell. So when we were Plural, man, that's when it was Y2K, right? At year 2000, we were making money. I used to program Microsoft Office products, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. And they said, you know what? The world is going to the web. We changed the entire company, everybody, no matter what you program, they were like, stop what you're doing. We're sending you to learn how to do web development. So I became a web developer. They sent me to Texas to learn web software. And so I was doing that because that was the way things were going. Well, guess what happened with the .com industry? It blew up. They started firing people like crazy. First, we stopped getting the beer on Fridays. Then they stopped giving the sodas. And then they stopped giving us juice. And then they were like, it was crazy. That's the thing with corporate America. It just keeps changing. So right now they're like, hey, this is great. Everybody's working at home. We don't have to pay for office space. But Omar's right. 2 months from now, they're gonna be like, you know what? We need people to get back in here. 3 months. It's just a cycle of corporate America. That that's business in general, right? You're always trying to find that right balance for improvement, growth, scalability. So that's really what it's about. I think New York will have their resurgence. And every empty building will get full again. It's just the way it works.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
it's just the way it works. Not as fast though, because they still.
It might be a little slower. We'll see if
you guys still deal with the COVID situation.
Well, yeah. Well, that's going to slow everything up for now. Yeah. But once we get past that, if we ever do, right? If real estate prices drop over there, people are going to love to have a New York address.
Absolutely.
I think things like the city taxes will change. Corporate taxes for the city will change to make it more appealing because right now it stinks for New York. And so if they stop the New York City corporate taxes or make some sort of waivers for that, people will come back to the city quickly. So, hey, we're at the 3/4 mark. So you know what we try to do, right? We try to look at our goals for the past week and where we are and see how things are going. So I just want to do that. Tanya, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still with you.
Good. So what we do now is just chat about what goals we have for the week to grow our business or move forward in our right direction. And then we talk about what we're going to try to accomplish in the next week. And so George is our veteran now. So you want to tell us what your goals are and what they were for last week and how'd you do?
Okay, so my goals for last week were to have 15 contacts, real estate wise, 15 contacts of previous clients. I came very short of that. 15 contacts and also have 1 out of every 5 of them be a Zoom contact like we're doing now. That was very difficult to achieve. I had a couple of calls, but it's something I have to strive to get, to have one-on-one Zoom calls for market updates because people are too convenient. Well, anyway, so I was able to do 2 of those, and I had about 7 contacts, client contacts.
Okay.
This week was very busy. Also, my other business kicked in. So we're full board, not full board, but we're still doing the paperwork as far as the LLC is concerned, doing our amendments,
Getting all that,
so we can go forward
that
on
back end stuff in order.
But I got it was a good week. So my goal for next week is to do the 15 contacts, 15 past previous clients, and to have, same goal, to have 5 visual contacts. I just have to develop a better way of doing that.
Okay. So developing. So before we move forward, George, just so we can make, because our folks who are with us now haven't heard why you do what you do. George is one of the, in fact, we had a whole thing where he sort of taught us about his whole touch system to keep in touch with his past clients. And obviously, Omar, you got about 700,000 clients, it feels like, every time I look through your books, right? It's valuable to have old relationships and keep them in your cycle, because that helps you to keep growing, right? It's easier to do repeat business. It's easier to get referrals. Warm leads are better than cold. So George has made it a goal the past couple of weeks to reach out to at least 15 of the previous clients that he's had and just engage them a little bit. So that's why he's picked that goal, and cool. That's a nice one to have. Omar, I gave you homework this past week. So you want to share what you've been doing and why we're doing what we're doing? What's the reason behind why you're doing what you're doing at this point?
I don't know. Young age. I don't know. I'm exhausted. But now, honestly, what it is, I came to terms when this whole COVID thing hit. It was like people were dropping like flies in my office. It was like, this one gone, that one gone. I'll see you later. I gotta go. I got kids. I gotta go. And it left me in a position where, like, I needed to fill these spaces, but I had to retrain all these people. I had no literature to give them to learn anything. I would have to sit there for an hour to teach them things and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? So Mark pretty much said, Omar, enough of having everything up here. Let's start putting it on paper. So when people do drop like flies, you just go pick up someone else and give them a piece of paper and let them read it over for a couple hours and then put them to work. And that's exactly what we're doing now. I'm literally just everything all our procedures, all our systems, everything, I'm just putting it on paper. So if anyone wants to drop, if my secretary decides to drop, I have a secretary booklet to hand over to the next girl or the next guy, whoever, and they could start exactly where she left off. So me and Mark are pretty much putting a booklet together, a systematic booklet together where, I have everything in writing. Nothing is in my head. They don't have to ask me 1,000 questions. They could just book and go, okay, I don't need to bother Omar right now. And gives me lets me be more efficient in a sense too. More time. I buy myself more time that I'm not sitting there training or teaching or explaining myself. It's all in paper, all on writing. Mm-hmm. So that is the reason why we're that's my homework now. Is getting everything in here on paper. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it helps with a couple of things, right? It helps with workflow. We've been focusing on workflow. And as we walk through, I think we were there a couple of weeks ago, right? We walked through some of the workflows, like the sales process, how you actually sell. We're able to refine it and make it better. And then we're able to even break it out, and we'll be able to have roles. So that will allow us to be scalable, right? If we can break out certain aspects of the sales process, now we can have one person doing, and then another person is free to do something else or to focus on something else. So you know how it is when everything is all mixed, very few things are done efficiently. So that's also one of the valuable things. So this week, Omar and I had our meeting, and he was tasked. That's why I said he's a beast. He was tasked with, I think I gave you like 5 different things to write up. So he's like texting me last night, yo, check this one out. Yo, check this. I'm like, dang, I can't keep up. This guy's moving. I think you wrote faster than, and all I had to do was send you my revised documents. It took me longer to do that, but you still got a few more to go.
Oh no, I have a lot of steps to go. I did 1 step out of 20,000. I'm
the big one now.
I'm on pace, baby. I'm on pace.
Yeah.
So this week, your target market then, Omar?
Honestly, developers and contractors. Those are my 2 biggest clientele. I don't really like to deal with residential. I actually nicked installation services because, like, we did installs for our whole entire career. Since '92, we installed windows. But I'm just tired of the homeowner. I'm running around all over New Jersey, from North Jersey to South Jersey to Philly to freaking Connecticut to Delaware to New York City, New York upstate. Right. I'm tired of that. To go measure, 10, 15 windows in each house. Maybe I get, out of the 10 jobs I go see, I land 6, 7, which is still a very good closing ratio. But at the same time, it's just like I could spend more time in my office taking care of my business, making the foundation stronger, you know, doing these systematic things that where I could just open another store and give them a booklet and have someone run it and pay them $100,000 a year and run that store as a manager. And I can open up satellite locations and I can concentrate my time doing that instead of running around all over New Jersey, New York, or the whole tri-state area, you know?
Yeah.
So
chasing 10 windows at a time.
exactly.
So you're building an empire, trying to build an
exactly,
empire.
And not for nothing. If I sit in my office, I could on emails alone, I could sell 10 windows an hour, and then on top of that, people coming through my store because we do have a showroom, and you know we have at least 2-3 people coming through the store every hour, you know, and they buy 5 windows each. That's 15 windows. So why the hell am I chasing 15 windows out around the New Jersey tri-state area? You know, so. Yeah. But again, I had to grow to that position. You know, it wasn't always like that. You know,
it was a process.
It was a process. So now we just decided to say, you know what, save your time, Omar, and don't stop going out so much, and stay in the office and work on the business. That's my favorite phrase Marc ever taught me. Stop working in the business, work on your business. You know, and that was my
better trade.
You know what I'm saying? Like, enough is working as an employee. Be the boss. Try to figure out how to make it better and be more efficient and make more money.
Excellent. Yeah. You know what's the name of your company?
Starlite Windows.
Starlite Windows.
So, you know, a couple things. If you can, I don't know if it worked well last time. You put your information in the chat and then it'll pop up, but I don't think it worked as much. I got everybody's contact information. So when I post this one on YouTube, I'll put that in the comments so people can see the name of the company or how to reach out to you, because obviously there's some value there. So this week you've got to your goal for the week is to finish up what, Mr. Rodriguez?
Workflow. Finish up my workflow. Get it all done. I already finished the estimate last night. I had my 60-year-old father sit in the office, and he's the president of the business. He's the boss. I'm cupcakes compared to that man. But I had him. He doesn't know the computer. He doesn't really ever go on a computer. So I had him sit down and work through an estimate workflow to see if he could do it. Anyone could do it. And he got like 75%, 80% done by himself. I was actually very surprised.
That's what I was saying. Remember I said, we're going to sit down and walk through them together. That's exactly what we got to do, right? Because when you write it out, it's easy because it's in your head and this is how I do it. But then someone who's never done it before, that's part of the training. Mm-hmm. They got to be able to read this thing and say, okay, well, what does this mean? And you go, oh, you got to, and we tweak it. So that's perfect. You got the rights. That's the system. And we're going to do that with every one of our systems. Mm-hmm. Write out our system, have somebody who doesn't do the system, try out what we wrote, see if they can get through it. And if we do that, now we've got gold. So I like that. So you got a few more workflows to go. So that's going to be your goal for the week. Tanya. So when we met, I'm looking at your paper here. I think I got like 8 things for you, or 10 things for you here. Scary. How you doing with your tasks?
They're coming along. I think I should be pretty good by the next time we meet.
Cool. So what have you been able to accomplish thus far? Why don't you give us a brief rundown? You don't have to give us details, but just high level.
Thus far, I have been working on the LinkedIn profile.
Nice.
And to get the names and addresses of the different executive directors of the nonprofits. Nice.
Very cool. Very cool. And that's going to be our jumping off point. So you're doing really good. Next week, what I'm not going to ask you to list the things, but we've got 8 things. How many more things do you think you can accomplish within the next week of the 8?
Of
just
the
a number.
8, realistically?
Yeah.
I think I should have 6 completed.
All right. That's pretty cool. I'm going to just put down 1 through 6 done.
Tanya's a bigger beast than I am, huh, Marc?
Hey, you know what? Tanya's ready to rock and roll. So when I gave her like 1 or 2, she's like, that's it. Feed me, Seymour. Feed me. So I had to come up with more stuff. So cool. That's a good goal. The goal that I'm working on is I'm going to be doing an actual workshop on October 31st. Tanya has actually been to that workshop, but I'm doing the same workshop again. And I want to do it virtually through Zoom. So I've got a lot of things to get in place before that. I'm fortunate enough to have some marketing help, marketing teams. So I have somebody who's actually creating content that we're pushing out, but all that back end stuff, you know, we have to work through, right? How people register for the workshop, you know, how we, whenever I do a workshop, I don't just like you just show up on that day. A couple days before, we try to reach out to the person who's coming so we can sort of get an idea of what they're looking for, so we can kind of make it a little bit more customized. So I got a little bit of work to do there. I think that by the end of next week, I want that all buttoned down so that the workshop can flow smoothly, you know? So that's really what my goal is. So that's cool. We all got goals that we can accomplish for next week to move our business forward. Thank you. Very cool, guys. We're like right at that 1 hour mark. So before we conclude, does anybody have anything else they need to ask or state?
I'm good for now.
Awesome. Awesome. Tanya, you good?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll catch up. I don't think we have any business meetings this upcoming week with you guys and who's in the room, except for Omar. Not even yours, the financial part with Abdullah. If you want to join, I'll see you there.
Abdullah, he's my boy.
Yeah, he actually did you, I'm digressing a little bit, but did you guys speak, since I got you, about the new project?
Yeah. He's
Okay.
working on it.
Okay, cool. Because when we spoke on Wednesday, he was like, I'm going to sit down with Omar again to make sure. I said, okay. So cool. Awesome. So we can put that to bed.
I hope.
Cool.
Okay, everybody.
All right, guys. You guys have a great weekend.
Okay, nice meeting you, Tanya and Omar.
You as well. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.